I, like probably a lot of you, had an experience with a crazy coach when I was a child. Just a unique fella who, had his own way of going about things and, tried his hardest, but was his own unique type of coach. All the other players in the team called him Coach Joe. And I think they enjoyed seeing him, and he obviously enjoyed seeing them. I had the unique pleasure to call him Dad. He had this saying that he used to say all the time. And I think I remember it correctly. This is 25 years ago. He used to say all the time, preparation is the enemy of fear. Preparation is the enemy of fear. And it didn't really matter what we were doing. He would just be yelling it out. Preparation is the enemy of fear. We'd be, running sprints up and down the courts, and he'd be yelling out, preparation is the enemy of fear. We'd be doing passing drills, and he'd be saying, preparation is the enemy of fear. We'd be doing dribbling drills. He'd be saying, preparation is the enemy of fear. Just said it over and over again. In our last game of that season, I only played basketball through like 6th or 7th grade, and then went on to other things. We didn't. There was no like championship. It was just 4th grade basketball. But we got to the end of the season, and we were tied at the end of the game. It's a rousing score of 13-13. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to a 4th grade basketball game. I know that they're in high demand right now. But if it comes down to the final few points, usually one of two things will happen. The first is none of the kids will want to shoot the last shot. And so even if they get the ball, they'll just freeze in fear. Or they'll get the ball and they'll shoot such an awful shot that it would have been the same as if they would have just held onto the ball. It's frequently what happens in grade school basketball games. Now, kids, I know that you think those games are like amazing, and your parents tell you they are. They are. So we were at the last game, and I did not shoot the last shot. My role was to be down low and to kind of rough up the other players as they were, trying to stop our players. So the ball got passed to my best friend Travis, who was an excellent shooter, but like anybody else, could give into nervousness, right, into fear. And so in the final few seconds of the game, he got the ball, shot it, and scored. Now, obviously, all the parents are happy, not because we won, but because the game was over. And my buddy Travis ran to my dad and he said, Coach Joe, I knew to shoot it. He was just excited that he knew to shoot it. Then he said his line, preparation is the enemy of fear. Right? My buddy didn't care that he scored the last basket. That was fun and cool, but he didn't care. He was just excited that he knew to shoot the ball. And he didn't give in to fear. Preparation is the enemy of fear. In the second reading today, we hear from St. Paul, who tells us that he should like us to be free of anxieties. We all have anxieties. It's just the case for life, that things can stress us out. And when we grow in anxiety, right, we can grow in fear. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, I don't know if I have any anxieties, Father. So I made up a list of other things that might cause you anxiety. We're going to read them here. Snowstorms, especially if we didn't know it was coming. I saw this morning Monsignor was out shoveling the right outside the house, and I thought to myself, boy, someone should go out there and help him. But that might stress him out. And so I let him do it himself. Or we could talk of economic uncertainty, terrorist attacks, racism, failing schools, past government policy, the possibility of future government policy, government takeover, immigration, war, COVID, other diseases we don't even know about yet. Right, the thought that that now all these nefarious governments and groups know what can cripple the world's economy, I don't think this is the last time that a disease is going to affect the world. But those are kind of things that are out there. They cause us some anxiety and stress. Let's talk about more unique things to us. Virtual meetings, virtual school, upcoming presentations that one of you might have, businesses being shut down, struggles in your marriage, having teenagers, future of education, churches being persecuted, and who knows what this week will bring. Yet St. Paul tells us to be free of anxiety, and we have all these things. I think the readings actually all talk about this and ultimately talk about a game plan that we might have to be free from anxiety. Last time I tried to go through all of them. I'm going to not try to cover every one of them this morning. When we read the first reading, we hear of Moses talking to the Israelites, and he's saying, "A prophet like me will the Lord your God raise up for you from among your own kin. To him you shall listen." Right, Moses is recognizing that he right now, at this time of him saying this, he is the leader of the Israelites, but there is someone coming after him who's going to continue to lead the Israelites. Now, when we hear that as 21st century people, we think Jesus. When they read that in the Old Testament, the Jewish people, they read Joshua. Joshua was the one who came after Moses and led the Israelite people. Right? Now, the cool part is, because we don't understand like how names are translated all that well, because, we just don't deal with that very much in America. Like if we were to think of like the gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, it wasn't like they were in speaking Arabic and all of a sudden with a Midwestern accent they just said Matthew and then went back to speaking Arabic. Right? That's a translation of a name. But we don't really translate Jesus' name into English. If we were to translate it into an English name, it would actually be Joshua. So that Moses is telling the Israelites to prepare themselves for Joshua, who is going to come and be their political leader. But he's also telling them to prepare for Jesus, Joshua, who is going to lead them to salvation. Right? What is Moses really commenting on here? He's commenting on the need for good coaches in our lives. Right? Someone to help us, to correct us where we're wrong, to encourage us where we're right, to help lead us and guide us in the right way. My hope is that all of you have had good coaches in your life. I've had a variety of coaches, obviously one of which was my dad. Right? Other times, we instead of saying coaches, we can say mentors. In the church, we'll say disciples. Right? The Israelites were in need of good mentors, good coaches. You and I are in need of good coaches. When we think of the most successful people in the world, whether it's in sports or business or otherwise, right, they almost always have good coaches, right, who are helping them and guiding them. If we want to just be good, if we want to be mediocre and not good or bad, or not great or bad, right, we shouldn't do anything different. But how does a good player become a great player? Is a good coach. Who is your coach? Are you coachable even? Sometimes people aren't very coachable. It doesn't matter what that person's going to say, and you're not going to listen to it at all anyway. Are you coachable? Moses had some great frustrations with the Israelite people. He's kind of saying this after he just got done yelling at them and struck the rock for water. Right? He's annoyed with these people. Are you coachable? Are you coaching anybody else? Are you coaching them for greatness? I think that's the first way that we deal with anxiety. Willingness to be coached. I think the other good or best of the insights that we got from the reading today is actually from the second reading. St. Paul isn't talking about taking away all those anxieties. He's not saying to the married, the unmarried, that all of a sudden all those issues are just going to be gone. He's asking us to live in them and to be free from the anxiety of them. Right, the second thing that I have to do to be free from anxiety is I have to accept there's going to be some chaos in my life. I have to accept that I can't control everything. I have to accept that other people live in the world and they might do things that actually have a negative effect on me, and I don't have to deal with it. Right, that's the kind of freeness from anxiety that St. Paul's talking about. Have I accepted that in my life? There's just going to be things that I can't control. There's going to be things that go on that aren't fair. And yet I have to deal with them. Right? Am I able to accept that? Because once I have a coach and I'm able to accept that I can't control everything, right, I'm ultimately being prepared for the anxieties that are to come, or maybe the anxieties that are already there. Preparation is the enemy of fear. What are you prepared for? Right? I think COVID's a good example of this. I think the world was not prepared. Why would we have been? But we certainly weren't prepared. How we could have known, I don't necessarily know, but I think that's why am I coachable and am I accepting that chaos is going to happen? That's what prepared for COVID really was. Well, what's to come? And I don't know. I don't know what's to come in your life. But I know that we need to be prepared. Preparation is the enemy of fear. What are you prepared for? Are you striving for greatness? Is good change happening in your life to become great? Preparation is the enemy of fear.